robotics industry going? We get guidance today from Avi Barkay. He is Executive Vice President and General Manager North America with Caja Robotics. Hello, Avi.
Hello, how are you?
Great, thank you very much for being with me, and I want to pose that question to you right now. Looking 3 to 5 years down the road, say, where is the robotics industry going?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. I think, looking down the road, I think there are a couple of things that are going to happen. I think one of them is we're going to see the commoditization of hardware. We've seen this in other industries. Ultimately, software prevails as the brain, as the AI and machine learning are going to play a much bigger role in various solutions that we see. I think we're going to see a lot more flexibility coming out of vendors. Again, this is an industry where the long tail is everything, and so flexibility is going to be crucial, and it's going to be likely going to be facilitated by software, as I mentioned before. I think we're going to see a lot more interoperability and consolidation. Big customers, the ones who purchase or utilize various robotic solutions or automation will want to see those solutions working in unison, so to speak. So I think we're going to see that as well. I do expect to have a bit of a slowdown in investment levels in the next couple of years. It will most likely follow the hype cycle, so we have a lot of investments right now. It will probably slow down a bit, and then we're going to have a moment of pause, and then we're going to see some additional
excitement, trough of expectations, and then it rises to where it's actually of
exactly.
use. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly how I see it.
I want to touch on a couple of points you just mentioned. First, the consolidation. Does this follow indeed the trend we see in almost every kind of technological innovation, where you start out with a bunch of small, scrappy startups offering point solutions, and then along comes the big enterprise giants, and they scoop them all up into a larger organization? Are you suggesting that's what's going to happen here too? I
think that's going to happen to some degree. There may be some intermediaries in the process trying to consolidate some components of it. I'm not so sure that there's going to be one big enterprise solution to rule them all, to use a Lord of the Rings analogy. I think there is a chance it will happen, but it will most likely come first from smaller players who will try to create that interoperability from various directions. It could be private, it could be institutions that try to create a standard and standardize and protocols.
Why do you think investment will slow? Is it just a question of maturing of the industry and development, or what?
I think so. I think that's exactly right. I think that investment will slow in the near future simply because a lot of money was poured into a lot of different solutions, and there's going to be a moment of slowdown, not even a pause, just to see what's emerging as successful deployments, successful solutions, and that's of course driven by markets and customers. So I think there will be a bit of a slowdown, but it will follow with, again, a second round. To your point before, follow the hype cycle.
I just wonder also if the robotics are going to have to be more flexible to be able to adjust to additional tasks going down the line. I mean, you purchase an expensive system, it does one thing, and all of a sudden a year later it's obsolete. I take it that the vendors are going to avoid that trap.
Absolutely, and this is exactly the point. I think when I mentioned up front about the need to have flexibility, I think those vendors who will be rigid in their approach will find it very difficult to scale with their customers. I absolutely agree with your point about the need for flexibility. I think it's absolutely necessary.
So if you could point, Avi, to like the most exciting thing you're seeing right now in robotics here at the Manifest conference as well as just generally in the industry, well, what might that be?
I really think it is around software. I think the software, I truly believe that that's going to emerge as the major differentiator. Hardware will be a factor as well, but hardware is easier to mimic. So I'm seeing some really interesting direction along interoperability. And along specific solutions that offer flexibility to customers around what they're doing. So I think it's really the software that's what excites me the most. And I see there's still a lot of opportunity.
I've got to think that the key to that is artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Absolutely.
As these robots literally get smarter. I mean, they're not smart now in the sense that we understand that word, or intelligent, but going in that direction?
Absolutely. I can share with you that in our company, it's already embedded, and that's what's That's what's driving our success.
It's the whole point of robotics, really.
Absolutely.
It's underlying everything.
Exactly, and if you think about it, the ability to manage and to optimize for traffic, for inventory, for orders, to do that simultaneously, you need a lot of processing power, you need some predictive analytics, and you need machine learning, so absolutely that's the direction we're going. And this is where I think this is where the excitement in the industry is going to...
It's very cool. So what advice would you give then to businesses and warehouses who are thinking about getting into robotics and automation, or being forced to think about it?
Yeah.
What's your advice?
So I would say a few things. I would say, first of all, start inwards, right? What are your objectives 3 to 5 years down the line? Where are you headed? What are your needs? And I would be careful about not, you don't want to be laser beamed in your focus since you're looking far out. You want to have a spectrum of where things may go. I think design for automation is absolutely critical up front, and design for flexible automation is even more critical. I would urge all customers to focus on software and not just look at functionality that robots provide, because it's very easy to see what the robots are doing, right. But to understand what's the software and the software roadmap behind, I would say that's critical. And I would offer the advice to talk and interact with players, intermediaries in the market who understand automation and where robotics is going into the future, because we're not going back. Even if the labor shortages will improve, which is, we don't know what's going to happen 3-5 years out, but even if that improves, we're never going back, right? Automation, productivity is going to be something that customers are going to require and going to push the envelope, and customers, we're going to push the envelope on those requirements, and we're just going to have to go forward with that.
Yeah. The road to robotics is a one-way street.
Exactly.
Avi, it was great speaking with you today about the world
of
robotics and how it's developing. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate your time.
I've been speaking with Avi Barkay of Caja Robotics. Thank you very much for watching.